Yes, hello friends, what's going on? And welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, mate, I do hope that you, my friend, are doing well. I really do hope that this here on the quite boring international break, of course we've had some sensational outbursts from a couple of key Chelsea players in Enzo Fernandez and Marc Cucurella, of which, of course, I've covered here on the channel, and we will be poking a little bit back into Marc Cucurella's comments in today's content. I also want to speak about this Abramovich situation with the funds of Chelsea, of course, before it was sold to Todd Boehly and Clear Lake. Some real interesting stuff from the XG philosophy on Chelsea. John Stones, who's a free agent in the summer, and Man City aren't giving him a new contract. Is he someone we should be considering? You're probably going to say, no, Jan, he's always injured. But a free, he's 31. We brought in, Thiago Silva when he was like 36. I don't know, as a free transfer as well, of course. And Tuchel, who loved Thiago Silva, he loves John Stones. Maybe something to consider. Romano has given an update on Cucurella's comments, of course. Pretty much criticising the hierarchy at Chelsea, calling at the men in control that have caused really quite a disappointing situation at Chelsea, you would have to say. In terms of briefings and what, which unsurprisingly are all over the gaffs. One of the chief briefing regurgitators, Carlo Solikol from Sky, insinuated that Todd Boehly and Chelsea would be willing to change the model to make us better. And we can only hope and pray, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, I do want to end on a Team Talk transfer news story from Graham Bailey. Speaking about Gonçalo Ramos, of course, the Portuguese striker, who's really talented, who really should be playing more football, if not for two reasons. One, Portugal just play Ronaldo in the centre-forward position, which, is probably partly political more than anything else. Like, Ramos scored like a hat-trick on his debut for Portugal. Of course, also, he's a PSG player. And what do we know about PSG? Well, PSG are the quintessential false nine team. Enrique was playing Asensio there before he finally cracked it with Ousmane Dembele as a false nine. But since he's played Bradley Barcola as a false nine, he's played Désiré Doué as a false nine. False nines don't always work. Just watched the England game the other day with Phil Foden. But, if there's one team in world football that loves a false nine, it's PSG. Luis Enrique's PSG. But Ramos is a proper striker. And you can make a very strong argument that the Premier League lends itself heavily to, proper strikers. So maybe we should be looking at him as well. Apparently, we're in contact. With him. Of course, worth mentioning, their mood is very low at the moment in the Chelsea fan base, understandably, after a dismal run of form. Liam Rosenior will be speaking to the media on Friday, so 2 days' time. Be very interesting to see how he reacts to the Cucurella and Fernandez's comments. But in the meantime, this of course is Chelsea News, where I react to Chelsea headlines and all the things being said about in the media, so we're going to get into that today. Thank you as always for joining me. Just a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed to the second channel, Football Yannick. We hit over 20,000 subscribers now. Which is genuinely, I know it's only 10% of this channel, but it's genuinely a milestone for me, and I love chatting football on there, and of course it's a nice palate cleanser to speak non-Chelsea stuff, especially lately. But if you do want to subscribe to Football Yannick, there's a link in the description, or just search Football Yannick on the YouTube. Let's get into it, mate. Alrighty. First of all, it is Chelsea related. Roman Abramovich plans to defy UK government with charity foundation for frozen Chelsea sale funds. This is on The Athletic by Dan Sheldon. Now, of course, there's £2.35 billion in like, I don't know, a big vault somewhere, probably digital account, that's been frozen, and the UK government keeps sort of prodding Abramovich, like, release the funds and give it to the victims of Ukraine, of course, from the invasion from Russia. Lest we forget, that's why Chelsea was sanctioned and Abramovich was sanctioned or whatever. Now, he's always wanted to... it would seem, and I did read this article, or most of it, but basically, essentially, Abramovich's intention was always to use that money for victims of war. Now, of course, the big confliction is he going to use it for Russian victims in the war? Because that's kind of, from the UK government's perspective, counterintuitive. It's like an illegal invasion, an illegal war. The whole of Europe and internationally was like sanctioning Russia. For Abramovich to give the money back to Russia would be problematic. Now, this is not by any means what's being said, or what he's saying is that he's creating a new charitable foundation, a charity commission that will be overseen by Mike Penrose, who is a former UNICEF executive, and it's basically going to be a global charitable foundation. So, to me, like, that's fine. And also, you just don't know. Like, you don't know what's going on in Roman's head and what he has to worry about yet. And I'm not going to go into too much detail here because we're going on very dodgy ground. But you don't know the things that Roman has to be concerned about. And that it's more intricate, perhaps, than it would seem on the surface. So, to have a charitable foundation for all victims of war, I mean, come on. The Chelsea money is going to a charitable foundation where it's a lot of money that will do a lot of good. I can't wait till this money is just moved, gone to like a good cause, and then it can sort of, the ghosts of like recent past can just be put to bed. Do you know what I mean? I can recommend the book Sanctioned, by the way, by Nick Puel. It gives you a very detailed background from certain perspectives of the sanctioning and Abramovich's history of Chelsea. Good reading. Very interesting. Right, let's move on then. So we're going to talk about this now. This is on the XG philosophy. Best, now this is kind of a bit of a gaslighting phrase. Best attacks this season, most XG created. So when is his best attacks, most XG created? Number one in, I guess this is the Premier League rather, because otherwise it would be like your Barca's and your PSG's, right? Best attacks this season, most XG created. Chelsea, and then Man United and Man City are like Man United second, Man City third, and they're pretty much joint second and third. And Chelsea are by far and away, by a significant number, if you think about 31 games played, significantly ahead of all the others in the league for XG created. Now, I think this is more like a quirk, something peculiar, but it's both shocking and depressing. Do you know what I mean? To be like, oh, we're leading the league in XG. I think our defense has been pretty pony, actually, and like the XG table that they generate, which is XG against and XG for. Like, who should be where they are? We were up top for ages, but I think because our defense has been quite poor, it's lowered us down. But it's suggesting that our XG is, by some way, the far best in the league in terms of XG generated, which, we've all watched Chelsea. Doesn't really feel like. Sorry, I had to just sip my herbal tea from my Sonic the Hedgehog mug. Yeah, mate, so do what you want with that. There's no point dwindling on it. It's fascinating, I think. It probably shows you we've just been really profligate and, not clinical with our finishing, and it's just lots of vibes in the final third. I mean, we probably, with our eye test and just watching Chelsea this season, lots of sort of final third vibing, not finishing your dinner, not taking chances, and then just being absolutely calamitous, inexperienced, and immature at the back, and leaving us where we are at the moment. And obviously at risk of a big mental collapse, which, of course, all these data boys, geezers at Chelsea who think they know how to run the club purely through data, they'll look at all this stuff and they'll be like, yeah, we're doing our job well. But I think it can be totally undermined by sort of less quantifiable stuff. Do you know what I mean? Essentially, you're a bunch of children and you're capitulating here. XG that, friends. Alrighty then. Man United, Man City are probably not offering John Stones a contract as the at Touchline X on X. I did want to speak about this because we talk about wanting experience at the back. John Stones is a 31-year-old centre-back who's won it all. Of course, the biggest red flag would be is he's really injury-prone, and for all of the Chelsea fans who have rightly been disappointed with Wesley Fofana's performances of late, you'd be like, well, Fofana out, someone like maybe like Stones in, as a senior player, a leader, someone's really good footballer, probably is like, should be starting centre-back with England for, it should be him and Gurley, really, for England. And he's only 31 still. You know, he could play. I'm not suggesting he's Thiago Silva who's going to play till he's 40 or like play, you know, at Chelsea. Like sign a contract at Chelsea on a free and stay here for 8 years and get to the age Thiago Silva was when he left. I don't think it's going to happen. And yes, of course, the massive elephant in the room is he's always injured. So, you know, there's that. And there's obviously probably a reason why Man City are not going to give him a new contract. But I would like to consider this. If there's like people who think generally, you know, they're not going to give him a contract because, I don't know, for whatever reason. Free transfer, would you take someone like John Stones? Because we tried to sign him before Man City got him. Do you remember the Everton fans used to sing, money can't buy you stones, can't buy you stones. And turns out, as a plot twist, money can buy you stones. It was about 50 million quid and he went to Man City from Everton. So there is that. I just wanted to sort of put it out there as a thought exercise because people are talking about Chelsea getting a centre-back, needing experience. I mean, 31-year-old, won it all, the treble winning, loads of Premier League experience. If he's not always going to be ruddy injured, I would consider that personally. That's just what I would say. Let's move on. This is on the Chelsea Chronicle. Marc Cucurella not looking to leave Chelsea despite damning comments about the club. So yeah, ChelseaChronicle.com citing Fabrizio Romano. Here we go. Oh no, he won't be that happy because of Italy not getting to the World Cup. He'd be more like, here we go. Or what's the sound like when Mario gets knocked off and dies? I don't know. Anyway, I should stop doing that because it's probably quite disrespectful. Despite some damning comments from the Spaniard, this is Cucurella, Romano, the aforementioned, has clarified that he has been no intention of leaving the club. I kind of got that. It did seem like Enzo Fernandez wants out, but Cucurella just wants change. Or just wants to be publicly showing that he doesn't agree with the current, in my opinion, heavily flawed model, in most people's opinions, to be honest. He said on his YouTube channel, Sonic Mug, that the left back is trying to send a clear message that they did not agree with the decision, although is not considering any proposal from Barcelona at the minute, his former club, of course. Yep, so he said, big interview with Marc Cucurella. Let's first of all clarify. Cucurella was asked several times about his club, about Barcelona, his former club, of course. Cucurella, and this is Romano saying this, Cucurella has made it clear several times how he loves Barcelona as a club. Like he joked as well, like he'd rather shave his head rather than play for Real Madrid. And before he said he'd never shave his hair. It's sacred. So he's the opposite of Enzo. He'd never go to Real Madrid. But when he was asked about that, Cucurella was very clear. He said, look, I'm very focused at Chelsea. So he didn't open the door to anything. Like, for example, Enzo. Today, in an interview with The Athletic, Cucurella sent an important message to the club saying, with Enzo Maresca, we have a very strong relationship. And in my opinion, it was not our best solution to sack the manager mid-season. So he is looking at it as a sacking. Of course, we've been briefed that essentially Maresca left. Or made it untenable. Strong messages coming from the leaders of the faces of this Chelsea project. And he is a leader, of course. Him and Enzo. He is a player who likes to have some kind of leadership, but to send a message to the club, he's not doing that against Chelsea or against someone. He's only speaking to send the best message possible to Chelsea and the fans on a clear mission. Yeah, I think it's good. The fans are really grateful that he's spoken out and been like, you know, we can't be getting slapped up 8-2 by you know, PSG, a team that we beat 3-0 in the Club World Cup final. We can't. stories go on. Also utilising the Chelsea Chronicle for this one. Todd Boehly expected to sign more experienced players after Mark Cucurella's comments. Briefing, baby. But hopefully, true. Sky Sports journalist Kaveh Solikol, who talks like this, and Chelsea will understandably want to do. He stated that that Boehly and Nidbali, the famously really popular twins, they'll be disappointed to hear the comments from Cucurella, not as disappointed as the Enzo ones, although they are aware of the narrative surrounding the club. They effing must be, mate. Then all they got to do is go on Chelsea social media and look at the replies and the comments. You'll get a taste of the mood then, chaps. He also believes a change to Chelsea's policy this summer, expecting them to sign more experienced players to bolster the squad, which would lead us on to the Gonzalo Ramos situation in just a moment. So, strap yourselves in for that one. He said this. Shall I try and do it in a Solikol voice? I don't think I can. It's just the intonations of how he speaks. I think the Chelsea owners will be disappointed. I can't do it. With what he's had to say. What he's saying is not new. It's the way a lot of Chelsea supporters feel. And how. It's the way a lot of ex-Chelsea players feel as well. You've heard it from, your Drogbas. I guess your JTs as well. Certainly John Obi Mikel. He never ruddy stops. But it's significant because it's coming from inside the dressing room and from a senior player. And he is a senior player. He's a leader. He's an important player. He was just being honest. I think what will really hurt the owners is that a senior player was questioning their strategy. Bang! And the really controversial decision to let Maresca leave. I don't think it was ever in their plans to leave with Maresca mid-season, but yeah. I guess they made it untenable as well. You need to consider that. I don't think they will rethink their strategy. I think they will tweak it. There you go. There's your change. Are you going to change? Tweak. Tweak is like a very little change. I think they're aware of the fact a lot of people have criticised them just for buying young players and going down a route of trading players instead of buying world-class players. Yeah, but also, man, it's not just that. It's not, they're just buying young players. It's the last few games, which is just such a demonstration of how flawed it is. They will learn that now. Well, you think they are if they're not incredibly stupid, but, they could be incredibly stupid despite getting paid probably millions of pounds for this being their job. It's the general worldwide global media optics and the ridicule they're getting, but also there's the literal demonstrative proof on the pitch of this is what's happened with the team that you've built and what you're so severely and clearly lacking, to the point where your Cucurellas and your Enzo Fernandezes have come out and been like, this is nonsense. Solikol goes on to say the following. I would expect them to sign some more experienced players, some ready-made stars. What if we get in the Champions League, mate? What if we don't? That'd be tough, wouldn't it? Having said that, senior people at Chelsea would say they have signed established players. I think the owners are listening to what the fans and ex-players and journalists, and now they're actual players in the dressing room, man, are saying, and I think they are listening. But the thing is, bro, the sporting directors shouldn't need to listen to fans and be like, ooh, maybe we should do what they're saying. You should know. You absolutely silly sausages. So we're not expected to completely abandon youth strategy. It talks about success stories like Santos and Estevao. Of course, we've got Datsun Satpayev coming in, Giovanni Kenda, Mike Penders, and we're looking at Valentin Barco, the midfielder for Strasbourg, who genuinely is a very exciting talent. But ready-made stars. Which leads us on to the final part of this piece of content for you, gang, today. Here we go. Some team talk. Graham Bailey, transfer correspondent. Chelsea in contact over stunning move for basically £70 million PSG attacker who's ready to quit the French Giants. Apparently, this is an exclusive for old Graham Bailey. He writes the following, gang. PSG striker Gonzalo Ramos. Was it Gonzalo? Just Gonzalo. Ramos is ready to leave the European champions this summer, and Team Talk can reveal that contact has already been made with several Premier League clubs, including Chelsea and Newcastle. Well, if there's one thing we can do, is take Newcastle striker targets. We did it twice last summer with both Delap and João Pedro. The Portugal international is approaching his third season in Paris following an €80 million move, which is 70 million quid, a switch from Benfica, but his time in the French capital has not unfolded as expected, despite registering double figures in Ligue 1 across his first two campaigns, which is, his goals per minute must be amazing as well, because he never starts. Ramos has found opportunities increasingly hard to come by. He's 24, but he is like a high-profile player. It's not like a Datsun Satpayev Kazakhstan teenager. This season, the 24-year-old has managed just 5 league goals, largely down to limited involvement, with only 10 starts to his name. So it's a goal every other start, which is pretty strong, generally. Especially if you've not got the chemistry of the team around you because you're not first choice. That lack of consistent game time has now led to a growing acceptance from both player and camp that his long-term future at PSG is unlikely, especially if Barcola and Doué are playing as false nines, because they're very young, of course. Ramos had opportunities to leave in the summer and strong interest, but opted to remain and fight for his place after PSG won the Champions League. However, the situation shifted significantly, and he's ready to explore a move away. Team Talk understands clubs all across Europe are monitoring the situation closely, with strong interests from Italy, Germany, Spain, all over the gaff, really, as well as the Premier League with Chelsea. Milan, Atletico Madrid, Leipzig, Dortmund have all basically asked about him. However, a move to the Premier League is emerging as a very realistic option. Sources confirmed Ramos is open to testing himself in England, where multiple clubs are already positioning themselves, including Chelsea. Chelsea and Newcastle, both long-time admirers of Ramos, having tracked him before his move to PSG and revisiting their interest last summer. Both clubs remain firmly in the market for a new number 9, with the Portuguese forward a strong fit for that task. You'd surely think he'd pick Chelsea. I mean, he plays for PSG, so he plays for a team that's recently absolutely tore us apart. 8-2 on AG, which is a sickening reminder, but also, we won the Club World Cup and we've won multiple, we've still won twice as many Champions Leagues than PSG. And don't forget it, at least to the end of the season. Delap's future at Stamford Bridge is in doubt, while Newcastle's too... Yeah, why don't we sell Delap to Newcastle? Everything works out, eh? Newcastle's 2 summer signings, Vultumada and Visser, haven't had the desired impact at St James's Park. Spent a lot of money. Man United have also explored a move for Ramos. They've been spoken to again. Spurs are another club, but they'll probably be in the Championship. Inshallah. I got a funny comment about me saying Inshallah the other day. I'm not Muslim. I just say it sometimes. God willing. Any move from Spurs hinges or not, they avoid relegation. Funny stuff. I mean, Kolo Muani, PSG player, wasn't he? PSG Juventus. He went there. With widespread interest building and Ramos now open for a fresh challenge, the coming weeks are expected to be crucial in determining where he will play next season as a race for his signature intensifies. I must say... Oh. Wrong background. I must say, I do quite like the idea of signing Gonzalo Ramos. He is really good number 9. That probably hasn't had enough time on the pitch to demonstrate that. Especially if it's like a Liam Delap switch. Like, that is an undisputed upgrade, you'd have to say. Delap was a market opportunity purchase. We won't lose any money on him. Ramos will cost a lot more money. He's a high-profile name. He'll be a legitimate number 9 to fight with João Pedro for that starting spot at Chelsea, and there'll be hopefully plenty of games to go around because you play cups in Europe one way or another, and we will play with a actual number 9 are closer to a true 9 than certainly PSG play. I know Joao Pedro is a bit of a Roberto Firmino regen, but it'd still be closer, you have to think. What do you think? Would you be happy with Chelsea signing Gonzalo Ramos? Would that be a demonstration of trying to get a little bit of stardust in? What do you like? Friggin' John Stones on a free. Is that something that might interest you? If he's not playing on one leg constantly. Let me know your thoughts, gang. Please do leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you for liking and subscribing on the YouTube. If you are on podcast platforms, remember this is available on Spotify, Apple Pods, probably other platforms as well. Simply by searching Football Therapy Podcast. I'm really grateful and still taking 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple and follows. That's great. And yeah, again, a big thank you to those of you who've supported me on Football Yannick and helped me get over 20,000 subs with the daily uploads over there as well. It's great fun, man. So thanks for hanging out with me there too. Look after yourselves. Winter, even though we're coming out of winter, it feels like winter is coming with Chelsea. It's gonna get turbulent, so strap yourselves in. I'll try and take you through it. So see you back here soon, hopefully. All right, peace.